Are you running out of movies to watch during this lockdown? And are you tired of the typical blockbuster movies that look and feel all the same? Then look no further than this one video, because today I got for you guys 5 hand-picked movies by me for you to watch during this lockdown, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. So let's jump right into the list. The first movie on our list, it's called Her, which is a movie from 2013. In this movie we follow the adventures of a guy named Theodore Twombly, and he works for a company that has people writing personalized letters of a particular nature in order to give other people, because in this setting people are unable to write letters, but this one person, this guy Theodore, is able to do so very well. But he faces some issues, right? So he has some relationship issues with his wife, and he's amidst a divorce. And among all this trouble, he eventually purchases an artificial intelligent assistant called Samantha, which is personified by a female voice, which turns out to be Scarlett Johansson. By this particular description, we might already guess that the setting of this movie is not actually on a so distant future, right? Because if there's a company that writes letters, whereas normal people can do it themselves, that tells a lot about our dependence on technology and AI. And since today we are so dependent on AI to an extent that we are not even aware of, this movie immediately got my attention. And trust me guys, this movie is heavy. And the actor that represents Theodore, trust me, I think you will find it quite familiar. Where have I seen him before? So coming up on our list is Donnie Darko, which is a movie from 2001. And I gotta tell you guys, this is one of my favorites. Donnie Darko is a movie where we follow the adventures of a guy named Donnie, which is the actual movie title, where he starts having some visions, and those visions are related with Doomsday. And these visions eventually turn out into daylight hallucinations, and in these hallucinations he starts to see this rabbit-like figure, and it tells him that the world is gonna end in 28 days. The overall feeling of the movie, its pacing, its filter, because it's almost a 20-year-old movie, and Jake Gyllenhaal's spectacular performance in this movie had to make my list. And if you're into those sorts of movies that really temper with mental health issues and borderline insanity, where you don't know if you're following the movie or the movie's following you, or you're completely lost in the movie although you thought that you were actually getting it, I'm sure you will love this movie. You don't want to miss out on Donnie Darko. So next on our list is actually Minority Report, which is a movie from 2002. Some of you guys might already seen this movie, but from the amount of people that I talked about this movie, most of them did not watch it, and I don't know how can that be, so this had to make my list. In Minority Report, we follow the events of a police agency that is called Pre-Crime, where they have these psychic humans that are able to predict the future, and they arrest criminals based on this foreknowledge. The central theme of the movie lies in the question about free will and determinism. The overall pacing of the movie, Tom Cruise's excellent performance also in this movie, the grain, the filters, the dystopian future-like setting really makes for a nice atmosphere and a really enjoyable experience of a movie. Pretty good food for thought. If you want to discuss this with your friends, this will make a great topic of debate, and it always comes up in my discussions at least. And it's also a movie that I keep watching it at least every year, and considering that it's almost also a 20-year-old movie, I think that says a lot about it. So be sure to check out Minority Report. So next on our list is Prometheus, and it's a movie from 2012. And trust me guys, this movie is one of my personal favorites of all time, especially if you're like me and you enjoy sci-fi and are actually familiar with the Alien trilogy. In this movie, we follow Prometheus and its crew. Prometheus is the actual spaceship that is the central point of the movie. This crew eventually embarks on a journey through the galaxy based on a star map that they found among the artifacts of ancient Earth civilizations. So this is future setting. So what happens next is that they eventually arrive on a distant planet where they faced a threat that could potentially eliminate the entire human species. Quick fact about the movie: Prometheus, according to Greek mythology, was actually a titan that stole the fire from the gods in order to give that fire to humanity. And according to myth, that fire was what enabled humanity to achieve the civilization that it has today, the technology that it has today. The gods punished Prometheus for the whole of eternity because the gods don't want any other people to be more advanced than them and potentially overtake them. And so this brings us to the central theme of the movie itself, in search of humanity for answers in relation to their origins and to God itself. It makes us think about if we should or not really have access to these answers. Sometimes these answers might be out of our own spectrum and sometimes they might be not. So let's find out in the movie. Be sure to check out Prometheus, one of my personal favorites. You don't want to miss it. And last but not least, we have Under the Skin, which is a movie from 2014. And before I say anything else, guys, let me just tell you that this movie is definitely not for everyone. The way it's shot, its pacing, the way the filters are made, the lights, the camera angles, it's completely different than anything I've seen and probably that you have seen. So be sure to be on the lookout for visual cues, some details along the movie, because that might reveal actually something about what it's meant to be interpreted as. The central theme of the movie revolves around what it means to be human. And trust me, out of this description, you will definitely not guess what is going on until you actually see the picture. And since this made it on my list, I don't want to give you any further details than that. I'm just going to show you the cover as you see right here. And trust me, you are going to want to see this movie. It's unlike anything you have ever seen. Since this movie journeys to the heart of what it means to be human, we have come to find that the answer to that is actually quite more intricate than one might expect at first glance. Trust me, you don't want to miss Under the Skin. This movie completely flew under the radar. I don't think it even made the movie theaters because I was not notified of it, or I didn't even heard of this movie until a couple months ago. And since it was a movie from 2014, it would be only normal that people knew about it, but no, there's just nothing about it. So be sure to check out Under the Skin. I'm sure you will enjoy it. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this list of 5 movies to watch during lockdown. And I can tell you right now that when I finally watched them, I was completely blown away, and I was actually left wondering and thinking about them for the next week, month, or even year after watching them, and I had to rewatch it all over again, and I'm sure this will happen to you guys as well. So be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and if you enjoyed my content, be sure to leave a like and comment down below on your experiences and what you thought about these actual movies. Without further ado, I am Martin, and I'll see you guys on my next video.